Welcome to Mighty Morphin Power, the podcast where nostalgia and reality collide as we watch an episode of the television series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go, go, Ranger Danger! Go, go, Ranger Danger! Go, go, Ranger Danger! Matt and Michael's Ranger Danger!
Alright, we're going to be watching episode number 52 of Power Rangers today, entitled Two Heads Are Better Than One. Before we start the show, though, I want to tell you that our website is www.rangerdangerpodcast.com. You can send us an email address at rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is a little different. That's at RangerDcast, the letter D. You can also find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Stitcher, and on iTunes. And on Stitcher and iTunes, you can, of course, subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. I'm Matt.
Howdy, Michael.
Michael's here as well. Jamie, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
And we've also added another guest. James, this is your first time on the show. How you doing?
Hi, guys.
Now, we've got a bit of a tradition on the show with first-time guests. We ask you about your first experience of Power Rangers. Do you remember the first time you ever saw Power Rangers as a kid?
Yeah, it would probably... The best memory is probably of Pink Ranger, Kimberly.
Yeah. She's stuck in your memory?
And the silly high school.
Yeah. That's pretty much all you need to know about the show, that there's a silly high school.
I mean, I feel like there's other more significant aspects of the show than the high school. Like the giant robots and the head in the tube and the moon witch.
Did you watch a lot of the show when you were a kid?
Yeah. I also, I was addicted to the SNES game. The one with where the final boss where you fight as the Megazord. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was basically like a Street Fighter clone for a while, and then you become the Megazord at the end.
Yeah.
Which is a bit different to the Fighting Edition, which is my favourite version of Power Rangers video games, where you can fight as the Megazords against other Megazords, which is basically like Mortal Kombat, but with Power Rangers. It's pretty rad. Can you remember when you stopped watching the show? Like, how long did you watch it for, do you reckon?
I think I remember distinctly it was after that movie where the White Ranger comes in and makes a train go over the bridge.
Yep, that's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
The movie,
yeah. I was a bit over it by then.
Yeah, that was a couple of years into.
But I came back a few times for different series.
Yeah, and I think
quite an entertaining show.
Yeah, I think everyone who watches Power Rangers gets a little curious at the very least when they see it again, because it's been running this whole time as I've been growing up. You're seeing it's still going on. That's kind of cool. All right. Do we have anything to talk about today on the show, Michael?
Not really.
No.
Before we get started, next week,
yes,
we won't have a regular episode on.
Yep.
But in place of a regular episode, we will have our 1 year anniversary special.
Yes, very excited about that. Basically, just going to throw a party and you guys will be invited.
Yeah, but not physically.
No, you're not allowed into our house.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask, maybe, but yeah. So we're doing 52 trivia questions, one from each episode.
Yep.
Matt against me.
Yep. It's the grand showdown.
Yep. The loser has to suffer a horrible fate.
Yes. Possibly the worst fate known to man.
I mean...
Don't you think? I think so.
It's going to be pretty rough. There's the pair of anguish and being drawn and quartered. There's worse things.
So we probably won't tell you exactly what the grand punishment is, but we'll reveal that
next week.
And
then we'll be back the following week with a regular episode again.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to go watch Two Heads Are Better Than One now.
Yep.
Sarah, would you like to watch the show as well?
I would love to. Thanks for the invite.
All right. So there'll be 5 of us on the show this time.
It's exciting.
Should be fun. Hopefully we see a bit more Green Ranger than we did last week.
That would be good.
Yeah. All right. And we're back. We just watched Two Heads Are Better Than One.
Yep.
That was an interesting mess.
Yeah, what did you guys think?
Jamie?
Well, it was definitely worse than the last episode.
It wasn't my favourite.
Was it even less coherent than the last one?
Yeah.
I really don't understand what was happening for almost that entire episode.
Yeah. We'll break it down. We'll go through it.
I was really surprised that they just called it Two-Headed Parrot. I always thought they had names. But
yeah, that was pretty lazy.
Yeah, they often do have names. We've had
Grumblebee,
Nasty Night, but no, that's just Two-Headed Parrot. So they clearly took an extra 10 minutes writing that episode and didn't have time to name the monster before they went out for lunch.
What are we going to call it? It's a two-headed parrot. I've got two-headed parrot. Yeah, that'll do.
Job done. Did you have a good time, James?
Yeah, it is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I still love all the Megazord bits. It's my favourite by far.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the greatest Megazord bit, but we'll get to that in a second. Sarah? Just to weigh in?
Yeah, I guess it was funny,
Yeah.
as they all are, in their own unique way. But yeah, not my favourite. Not my favourite.
Fair enough.
All right.
Okay.
Take it from the top.
All right. So there's a women's self-defense class being taught at the Angel Grove Gym/Juice Bar.
Yeah.
Um.
Very specifically for mothers.
Yep. Jason is being assaulted by Tommy.
Yeah.
It turns out they're just teaching.
Yeah.
It's not something that's going on.
Sadly.
Really?
Well, I know it'd be cool to see some conflict and drama, but
Oh,
that's
sure.
They seem really nice to each other, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't these days.
Yeah.
They don't get along anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The actors.
Yeah.
So one of the mums sort of stops the class to say, "Oh, thank you, boys, so much for your help," and they're like, "Yeah, anytime."
Yeah, I think Tommy says, "Hey, anything for Angel Grove's mum."
He does indeed
Which
say
is,
that.
it's much creepier.
We can all agree that they're doing this to pick up, right? That's definitely my reading of the situation.
Well, Tommy is ostensibly dating Kimberly still.
In air quotes. Like, they've never been out on a date, I don't think.
Not that we've seen. He bought her a parrot.
Except
Pretend
a pretend
But yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I guess that's pretty much it for that scene.
Yep.
Then-
Someone there says two heads are better than one.
Yeah, because they're trying to teach them that they should stick together and
Teamwork.
call
Scream a lot.
Teamwork.
scream a lot. It's very important. That's a skill they're trying to instill in them. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Then they head over to the juice part of the juice bar for some juice, and Zach seems genuinely surprised that the juice that they're having is good.
Yeah.
Doesn't speak.
They all seem really shocked.
They're like, "You guys, you have to try this juice. It tastes okay." So I guess maybe that's why Ernie's business was failing a couple of weeks ago.
No, because he just is terrible at making juice.
Terrible at his one job.
Yeah, so it's a new exotic fruit shake.
Yep.
Bulk and Skull show up.
Yep.
I'm just going to spoil it now. They don't get exotic fruit shake on them.
No, which is surprising. We discussed this a little bit last episode, but recently, well, actually, no, really since the start of the show, every episode, Bulk would get some sort of liquid on his face, or goop, or some sort of... Yeah, it was weird and gross. It happened a lot more than it should have. To the point
It
where...
appears to have slowed down, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they fired whichever writer had a weird thing for wanting that to happen in the show.
Sure. Because they were going to go to the women's self-defense class to pick up.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's a bit creepy, right?
They're creepy guys, though.
That's true.
But they didn't know it was... Oh, no, they did know it was women's. They didn't know it was mums.
Yeah.
But, yeah. They are creepy dudes.
They're definitely
They're
creepy
still
dudes.
rocking the tie-dye.
Yeah, they sure. They won't grow out of that for a while.
Big thing.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we cut to Rita's moon palace, where Rita had been watching the class and decides that she's going to try and learn from the lesson that Tommy and Jason are trying to instill in the people there, and that her monster should literally have two heads.
Yep. Well, two heads are better than one.
That's what we've learned, apparently.
Yeah. So Finster's working on a parrot monster.
Yep.
So he adds an extra head to it.
Job done.
Yep. Because what she says is basically, the problem is clearly that my monsters are all too stupid.
Yeah.
Double the heads means
double the intelligence.
Double the intelligence. Which for?
Like I read is Rita just being an idiot. But Zordon seems to agree that that's the case.
That appears to be accepted science in the Power Rangers universe. Is that true?
Clearly. Like, this is total evidence.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel that double parrot knowledge is still...
Yeah.
To be fair, the parrots did a pretty good job for a while.
Oh, yeah. It's an incredibly effective parrot monster.
Yeah. Though I was genuinely surprised it didn't have two heads, on
next to each
head.
other.
Yeah.
One was in its stomach for some reason.
Yeah. It's odd.
Which it kept stroking.
It wasn't really a head, it was
creepy
basically
way.
just a face on its stomach.
Yep.
Well, no, I think it was trying to show that one hand was controlled by one head.
Yeah.
Which is why they kept touching their mouths.
Different parts of the body, like different hands were touching.
Yeah.
Itself.
It was very creepy.
It was creepy.
So Jason and Tommy are in the park sparring, basically.
Yep.
Very gently. And the parrot monster attacks, which is a weird change of pace, because we usually get a putty attack or something.
No, he shoots feathers from his, I guess, like wrists, kind of.
They're feather darts or something, we should specify. They're not just like feathers.
That explode.
That explode.
Of course they do. Everything in this show
Of course.
That's how you know it's dangerous.
Yes.
So they're both...
It's also got its second beak can shoot missiles.
Yeah. Because of course it can.
The laser beam.
Oh, and it's got a laser beam as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seem to come from both heads.
Yeah. Because they're better
Two
than
heads
one.
are better than
Yeah.
one.
If you had a second
Yeah.
head, you could shoot a laser beam. That's just
Their
science.
eyes and the beaks.
Yeah.
Like 6 laser beams. From 10.
So they morph.
Yep.
That's just Jason and Tommy, and begin fighting the monster, but aren't doing very well.
Yep.
Because, you know, they're learning a lesson about teamwork and how they'll need the rest of the team.
Yeah, so they can't... Yeah.
Yeah, so they run away, as you do. Just leave the monster to its own devices for a little bit, and they head back to the command
It's okay,
center.
this one's not going to end humanity.
Yeah, that's right.
This one's just a pirate.
It's just... what's a parrot going to do?
So yeah, all the Rangers are back at the command center now.
Yep.
And Zordon says with two brains, it's twice as intelligent.
Which was not demonstrated in the fight. I didn't get the feeling that this was any smarter than a regular monster.
No.
But then Zordon mentions that Alpha has been doing some research and has some data on the flamingo. And this data indicates that its favourite fruit is a flamingo.
A pomango.
Pomango, I apologise. Now, I have like 8 different questions about that
Go
statement.
for it.
First of all, what's a pomango?
It's like a mango, but more like a pineapple.
So it's an actual fruit?
No, it's made up.
Oh, okay.
Did it look like an actual fruit?
No, I thought that was...
It's like beach ball size, and it has 4 big leaves coming off it.
It would be surprised me if they like said pineapple and had a big thick pineapple, though. You know, like I don't understand
Sure.
why it was a fictional fruit. But okay, whatever.
Next question.
Why does how or why does Zordon and Alpha have data on these animals that indicates to them what their like food preferences are?
They were just created.
Yeah, like 2 seconds ago.
I mean, we will see later on in the show that there are many alien planets with specific races of, like, monster aliens.
But like we saw him being created from clay. He didn't come from somewhere.
I mean, but maybe he's based on the parrot people of...
It's not like these
Neptune
bad guys
7.
seem particularly original.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and he just added
Most
an
of their
extra
plots are basically like, what's the one-liner from this week?
Yeah. Oh, okay, so
I love it when Billy's reading out the data and gets rudely
Yeah.
interrupted.
They're just like, we don't care about you, Billy.
shut up, Billy.
Mid-sentence.
And then they talk about they need the other Rangers there to study the data while
Yeah.
Tommy goes to find a fruit. And it's basically them going up and pushing buttons on the console. Like, that's not studying. You need to at least read something.
Not to mention, I don't think they actually obtained anything.
No, it did not help
sitting
them
around
at all.
And they sent Tommy off by himself to
Yeah,
be obliterated.
yeah. He's the one Power Ranger
It's
too.
some really
who's-
odd music.
And they also go, oh, you're running out of power, be careful.
Yeah, he's the one who's like his powers are kind of fading, but they send him out while everyone studies.
Yep.
That's a dick move, right?
Also, the head guy, what's his name again?
Zordon.
Yeah. He seemed really disappointed in Tommy. he like sent him out by himself and he gets beaten up by putty guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you failed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Tommy goes out to find the pomango.
They basically say, there's lots of fruit in the park. Maybe one of them's a pomango. I don't know. Figure it out, dude.
And he walks around the park to very somber music for some reason.
Yep.
And eventually comes across a pomango tree.
Yep.
But Rita's like, shit, no, if they get its favourite fruit, something bad will happen. Send down the putties. And Tommy puts up a good fight against the putties for a while, but eventually they get a hold of the pomango
Yep.
and run off with it, basically.
Yep, more or less.
Yeah. But then they're back at the command center. Zordon says to them, oh, the parrot monster's back at the park. You need to go fight it. What was it doing? Did it eat leave when they left?
Went
and
for a
then kept-
nap.
Maybe he went looking for Pomago.
That's a good... I like that theory, actually. That's a solid theory. So they decide that... Zordon decides that they have to send the Rangers back to the park to fight
Yep.
the bird again.
Which they do.
Which they do. Not super successfully. They're having a bit of trouble.
Yep.
But back with Tommy, he didn't get the pomango because the putties
No, the putties grab all the pomangos and teleport away.
teleport
Which
away.
is the first time they've ever achieved an objective.
It's definitely true. Zordon contacts Tommy and he's like, hey guys, what happened? why did you not get the Pomango? And Tommy's like, I'm sorry, I failed.
There were like 12 enemies, and you just sent me on my own.
Yeah.
I just as a kid, I used to remember Zordon as being this amazing person who looked after everyone, and I just can't help but feel like he shouldn't be in charge of strategy.
Yeah, no. Despite the fact that he can see everything in it, like everyone, he's not a super smart dude. Tommy is, however, because he has an idea. He's going to go to the juice bar, which he does, and ask Ernie for his last Pomango. Now, unfortunately, Ernie doesn't know about Power Rangers, and they have to keep secret identities, so he can't reveal that he needs the Pomango to distract a parrot monster.
Do they need secret identities?
That's a great question.
Because the bad guys know who they are.
Yes, that's correct.
So who are they keeping it secret from?
Yes.
The good people in town, basically. There were several rules that Zordon set in the first episode. Never escalate a fight. Only use your powers for defense.
They escalate them all the time, don't they?
Well, I think the idea is like the reason they don't get the Zord and step on the monster straight away is because they're not supposed to like overwhelm. Always use your powers for defense and don't reveal your secret identities. It's never discussed why.
Okay.
There are future teams of Power Rangers that don't have secret identities.
Because they work for the government.
They work for the government, or like people just know.
Isn't there like a police one?
Yes.
Yep. There's time police,
That sounds really
and real
cool.
police, space police. There's a group that are basically just like paramedics, and also Power Rangers.
That sounds awesome.
There's a lot of awesome Power Rangers.
But
I suppose if you're going for 20 years.
Yeah.
the secret identities keep up for like 5 or 6 years of the show, like a long time.
Yeah, then it gets to the point where they're in space, so secret identities aren't really a thing they need to worry about. But I guess the best reason I can think of why they have secret identities now is that they would become famous and they would become like celebrities, and Zordon doesn't want them to like benefit from the celebrity status, I guess, or disrupt their normal life.
It's civil service. It's not
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
But
That can make sense.
Do they ever explain why the high school area is such a hotspot for alien invasions?
no, not ever.
Well, is it alien invasions? I thought it was just the witch just sending things to beat up the Power Rangers.
That's
Well,
alien invasion?
she's an alien and they're invading, so...
Okay, you got me there. But I mean, like, they're not so much invading the world as in she's just trying to beat up the Power Rangers.
They
right?
never explain why, say, she doesn't send a monster to, like, New
Tokyo.
York or Tokyo or Sydney. And
So really,
like-
if the Power Rangers just like disappeared, the Earth would be a lot safer.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly right.
She has stated a few times that she wants to overtake the world. The Power Rangers are standing in her way, so she wants to get rid of the Power Rangers so she can then take over the world.
if you take them out first...
But if she did almost anything else besides attack them first, she would probably be fine.
I mean, if she did anything with any kind of stealth whatsoever, she'd probably achieve
I don't think
her
she
goal.
even needs stealth, just like through the Grumblebee at who's going to end humanity on the other side of the world, and they won't have time.
Well, they could teleport her, but, like, you know,
that was an
theoretically...
interesting thing in this episode. He just teleported them in with no warning.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
they could have
noticed
been
that.
doing anything.
Everyone on the show can teleport. Everyone.
Yeah.
And I think the reason... Because they have Japanese footage and American footage, and they need to have a reason why they're at the park and suddenly they're at a Japanese beach, you know?
Right.
So it's that everyone can teleport. All the
Yeah, well,
monsters
it's more the
can-
fact that he teleported them without, like, any warning to them.
Oh, yeah. Like, Zordon's not really into... what's the word I'm looking for? Consent, I guess. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there's that.
Yeah.
I suppose that's one of the liberties you have to give up to be a Power Ranger.
That's right.
So Tommy makes up this story to Ernie that he bought Kimberly a parrot,
Yeah.
but it's not eating well.
And it really likes some
The
mangoes.
vet said that pomangos are the best thing for its diet. And Ernie's like, well, it's the only thing that's going in my shakes, are the only thing that are keeping my business afloat, so I'm going to have to shut down. But sure, yeah, have the pomango, whatever.
This is why his business keeps failing.
He doesn't even offer to buy the Pomango.
No.
He just wants
What
to
is
take
he doing?
it.
Like, have $10 your Pomango. No, that doesn't happen. He just walks off with it.
Yep.
So back at the fight, the Power Rangers are still struggling.
Yep.
And Jason gets a bit cocky and decides he's going to take the thing on by itself.
It curb stops him.
Yeah.
Just straight up knocks him down, foot on its chest.
It's about a second away from crushing his skull under his feet. Thankfully, Jason doesn't have to learn his lesson.
No.
Because the Green Ranger jumps in to save the day.
Yep. Throws the Pomango at it.
Yeah.
It fights over the Pomango.
Yeah, it fights with itself over the Pomango because both mouths want to eat the Pomango.
Yep.
It's a bizarre scene.
I mean,
They couldn't just split
cut
the
it in
Pomango?
half. Yeah.
Not to mention they all just start posing when the monster starts getting confused.
They look very proud. They don't, like, seize the moment. They take the time to stand and cross their arms and be like, yeah.
We've done it.
So he has a little existential crisis.
He does have a little existential crisis.
And he fights with himself.
Yeah. And the Rangers take this opportunity to strike.
To punch him in the face.
Yeah. And what they actually end up doing after punching him in the face is the 5 regular Rangers make like a formation with their hands.
Yep.
Tommy jumps on that and they launch him up into the air and he uses his dragon dagger to shoot a laser.
Yep.
I don't properly understand why he needed to be in the air for that to happen other than it looks awesome. But that's as good a reason as any, I guess.
Yeah.
And again, we're back to swords not actually being swords.
Yeah.
It's a laser beam and a flute.
Yeah. A flute dagger. But, again,
That can shoot lasers.
why does he have to be distracted to be shot with the flute laser? Like, yeah, anyway.
I'm pretty sure he played a wrong note too.
Probably. He's not a musician, he's a fighter. But that being hit with the laser is enough to weaken him. He's about to be destroyed, so Rita throws down her staff and makes the monster grow.
Yep.
Now, James, you mentioned that this is one of your favourite parts of the episode.
Yeah, I love all the little toys rolling along.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Yeah, I noticed it was like, I think it was one of the short versions, like it was cut out of it.
Yeah, they definitely condensed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Though the bit where where all the different robots roll in, that was longer than the last episode.
Yeah.
Last episode they had a really short bit.
They have a full-length version that goes like 3 minutes of that.
Right.
And then you get various lengths of it,
And
basically.
all the monsters, like the dragon, the Tyrannosaurus Rex comes out of the volcano and stuff. And
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I remember I was always excited watching when I was young because they do change those scenes every now and then, like the way the bird flies in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like very rarely, but I'd watch every single time thinking, is it going to change this time? Are they going to do something different?
Yeah.
But I think it only happens like twice or something.
That's right. This is actually one of the ones where it does, because we see the pterodactyl coming in, like doing a flip as it comes in, which doesn't normally happen. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Normally we get the Dragon Zord like emerging out of the ocean and then like trudging through like a dock district. It looks really cool, but no, we don't get that this time. It just appears.
He just kind of walks up,
It was weird the way they had the 5 of them, like when they get their dinosaur robot things. And 5 of them threw their arms in the air while Tommy's just standing at the back awkwardly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, they've got their special thing and he can call a giant robot Godzilla.
Doesn't it go back to Zordon's rules about like not overdoing it, so they have to like start with one?
Yeah. So the Megazord forms and the Dragon Zord forms as well, and they fight. It's kind of a disappointing fight, this one, for me. We didn't even get to see the Dragon Zord's like
finger cannons,
which are really cool. None of that.
Is like the tips of his fingers retract and become missiles, and then he shoots the missiles.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So does Tommy never get to go in a robot?
Not this one.
He can get in the Dragon Zord,
but he's
done it like once.
It seems super lame that he's just standing at the bottom going doo 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 doo.
He usually stands on a skyscraper when he does it, which makes it a bit cooler.
That does. That would make it a bit cool. Yeah. But again, the bad guys seem to do really well when they just shoot missiles at them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Surely, like Rita, take notes. Come on.
No, look, she hasn't learned by now.
So there's a bit of a fight. The Dragon Zord beats it up with his tail a little bit. And then we get the Ultra Zord formation, except it's really short. And we miss a lot of key, especially for Jamie.
What was that? I don't understand what actually happened in that scene. It looked like he stood on some sort of platform.
Yeah, okay, so there's
and then shot a laser beam.
Titanus, the Carrier Zord, who's like a Loch Ness monster, long-necked tortoise thing.
Right.
And it's like a separate Zord that is kind of sentient on its own. And it comes out.
Okay.
And then the Megazord kind of stands in a hole in its back. And then basically the top half of the Dragon Zord splits open and sits on the Megazord's shoulders like a cape. and then they just point all their guns straight ahead and just shoot it constantly until it explodes.
Yeah. It's one of the lamer Dragon Zord Megazord combinations.
Yeah.
It seemed rather effective, though.
It is, but it's just kind of boringly effective. Like, they
Right.
sit there and shoot stuff.
There's one it does where the Dragon Zord gets the yellow and blue ones
And black
as
ones.
its legs, and the black one as its arms, and becomes like a Dragon Megazord.
Like a Dragon Knight with a huge drill sword.
yeah.
It's really cool. But none of that this week.
No,
Have you guys ever done any like research into like do the stories run the same or similar with the Japanese versions? And things
they are
like
often
it's really
drastically different.
We
that?
actually...
Yeah, because I noticed like in this scene, like they were in a park, and then all of a sudden with the Megazords, they're in the desert.
Yeah. Like, it's pretty dramatically different to the Japanese show. We actually did an episode where we watched an episode of the Japanese show. It was much better than the American show.
The thing is, the footage that we're watching right now actually isn't from the Japanese show.
Okay.
What happened is they made it to the end of the Japanese show and it used all the footage that they had. But the show was so phenomenally popular that they ordered more footage from Japan. They got them to shoot like 20 episodes worth of monster fights and giant robot fights, and then have just cut it into episodes, which is why the last 10 episodes or so have been more kind of coherent a bit and made a little more sense, because they've got a little bit more to work with.
But to demonstrate the difference between the American and Japanese, the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, and the Ultra Zord in Japanese footage represent the three aspects of God. And when they combine, that's like the totality of God coming together, which is why it's able to destroy the most powerful monsters. It's insane.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, the Japanese show is crazy, but much better.
I can really appreciate the old like costumes though. Like it's so much
The-
better than
the monster
CGI
costumes
and stuff
are
like that.
Yeah.
These
Like
days
even
they
with this
do.
Ninja Turtles movie coming out, they look better than the bloody Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
These days they do CGI Megazords and CGI giant robot fights.
Yeah.
The advantage is they can do things like fly and move around and that sort of stuff. The disadvantage is they look much less real doing it.
Yeah, I much prefer this stuff. Thankfully, we get this stuff for many
There's
years.
a great middle ground where they like are doing it well enough that it feels real and it feels good.
Yep.
But yeah, eventually it just becomes cheaper to move to CG.
Yep.
Which is a shame.
It
But
is a shame.
oh well.
Yeah. So they defeat the two-headed parrot. God, that's stupid. And they're back at the
Juice bar. Yep.
And they're hosting another one of their women's self-defense classes. But Bulk and Skull turn up.
Yep.
Because they think they're going to be able to hook up with some of the ladies there.
Yep.
And Jason and Tommy decide that what they're going to be able to do is get Bulk and Skull to be the attackers.
Yep.
And use them as examples for the ladies.
Yep. I have to just say one thing.
Yep.
Actually, I've got two things. I've got a note that I want to go back to.
All right, go do it.
When they're forming the Megazord, Kimberly says, Polly want a Megazord. Have we heard her say that before?
No.
I got the most intense deja vu when she said it.
I remember if she said
I
that
mean,
before.
I want to say that, yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of one of those lines that's so bad, it's kind of great.
Yeah, but
I
I
thought
just,
they would throw it in.
it
You
just
know, you
feels
can feel it coming.
familiar. I don't know.
Well, they were really down on their pun quota for this episode. Like,
Yeah, it's usually
the
a lot more.
Grumblebee episode, I think every word out of their mouth was a pun for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The second thing is, before the self-defense class, Ernie goes up to Kimberly and says, I heard about your parrot. Here's another pomango fruit he can have.
Yeah.
And Kimberly's basically like, I don't know what the fuck you are talking about.
Yeah.
First of all, she's terrible at this whole secret identity thing.
Yes.
Right? Second, does she not connect it to the giant parrot that they literally just killed?
Yeah, she was there when they
Also-
used the pomango.
Yeah, like,
Third, if Tommy's going to obviously lie to someone, at least cover your bases and tell people
as,
you
as they're going
the
back,
cover story.
hey, I told Ernie I got you a parrot. Like, yeah, they're all terrible.
I don't know, I don't feel like it was up to Tommy to tell Kimberly. I think she should have picked that up on her own.
Yeah, she could have at least been just not responded. Like, yes.
She was really
Okay.
like...
You know, like when you're at a party and someone says, "Oh, I heard about that thing you did," and you're like, "I didn't do that thing," and you just smile and nod, and you go, "Yeah, it was all right." Well, no, she's just like, "No, I didn't do that.
No.
That's not me."
Laying down the team, Kimberly. But she does take it
Yeah, well...
So she's not like, oh, it's okay, the parrot's fine now, you can have this, I don't need to keep taking your stuff. No, she's cool to take it.
She's going to make her own Permango smoothie.
Yep. All right.
So Bulk and Skull are going to be the attackers.
Yeah. They say, ladies, we'll try not to hurt you too much. Predictably, the ladies beat up Bulk and Skull.
Yep. Which is kind of cathartic and satisfying to watch, to be honest.
Actually, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. They end up on the floor. Is that the end of the episode?
Then...
The one line about two bombs is better than one.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's terrible. But Sarah did make a comment at that point saying it's actually quite a progressive message. Not that it was intentional.
Yeah.
But, I'd like to think that they're sort of way ahead of the,
that's all I got from it. What did it mean?
It was just saying that it was just going on the whole, two heads are better than one.
Yeah, I don't think it was supporting lesbianism. I don't think that's...
Sadly.
No.
I wish they were that progressive, but no.
There's never been an openly gay Power Ranger.
But there's never really been an openly gay Power Ranger in a relationship, really. They just don't touch on sexuality.
Yeah, there's not, I think, an openly straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with exceptions of, 3 or 4 couples.
Yeah.
It's mostly an asexual TV show.
We could assume that most of them are gay, and there's nothing that contradicts that.
No.
So,
in fact, there's probably quite a bit to support it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the Power Rangers, one of the actors who plays the Power Rangers is gay.
Yeah, I'd say yes.
So.
And I'd say there'd probably been several,
which one is he?
Billy.
Who's Billy?
The blue one. The blue nerd. Yeah.
I'd say there's probably been several. I can't think of any that I'm aware of off the top of my head.
Just numbers-wise.
Yeah. There's been, probably 200, 150?
Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Really?
No.
There'd be at least 100.
Wow.
20 seasons, 5 a season.
Yeah, that's true.
And each one has...
Although, the first 5 seasons, there's
yeah.
I'd be comfortable saying between 60 and 70 Power Rangers.
I'm going to say there's between 100 and 120.
All right.
And we're going to look it up. And I'm going to record a little tag at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So how many are you saying, Matt? Let's all take guesses. Come on. How many are you saying?
I say 70.
70? What do you say, Sarah?
I'm going to say 50.
50.
Conservative, all right.
James, Jamie?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this is way above my
Okay,
head.
I'm saying there's 100. Minimum. I'll stick the tag on the end of the episode.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But doesn't it get a bit technical when you run into other countries and stuff like that?
No, we're only American cast of the show.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, we're getting people, not rangers, right?
So, I mean, you're pretty...
so you mean Tommy is one,
Yes.
regardless of the 5 powers? Yes, I agree with you there.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, so, Ranger Danger Creature feature time.
Yeah. What did you think of Two-Headed Parrot?
Not great.
Yeah, I don't think he was brilliant.
No. I would probably say some lower half of the list. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was kind of cool, but also kind of not great.
I just think I found the perfect spot on the list already.
Sure.
I would say below Jamal, above Fighting Flea. What do you reckon? Or do you prefer Fighting Flea?
I'm trying to remember Fighting Flea. No, I didn't love Fighting Flea.
No.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, because Jamal was not bad. He wasn't very interesting, but at least he had a cool visual gimmick.
Yep.
And had a name that wasn't just Two-Headed Parrot.
So that puts him at number 50.
40.
40, sorry.
40 on the list for Two-Headed Parrot.
Yeah. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say?
No.
Thanks for having us.
You're so
That's all
welcome.
right. This has
Anytime.
been a year.
Yeah, a year of Power Rangers episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys sticking with us.
Yep.
And we'll have a special anniversary episode for you next week.
Yep. And then we'll be back with, I guess, Ranger Danger second year.
Yeah, year 2. And very soon we'll be getting to Lord Zed, Thunder Zords,
All sorts of
White
exciting
Ranger, all
nonsense.
sorts of stuff is coming up very soon. So, exciting times.
Yep. All
Awesome.
right. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
So there's 2 Red Samurai Rangers?
Yes. Howdy, Rangerinos. Jamie's just looked up for us how many Power Rangers there are, and there have been, so far, up to the end of Super Mega Force, 110. So I'd like to say that I was right. I'd like to brag a little about that. And we'll see you next week.